Hey everybody, thanks for joining us, and hope you had a good week and you're all nice and ready for the holidays. And can't believe Christmas is already here. Almost another year on the books. So with that, let's go ahead, and if you want to share experiences about either day, Uncle Bob or Red and Green, um, you can unmute yourself or type in, but go ahead and fire away. And if not, we'll jump into a practice.
And you can type in, you can unmute yourself. So they're pretty chill other sessions.
Yeah, the Wednesday night.
And go ahead, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Samantha. Hi, everyone. Wow, really interesting because I looked back and I think a week or two before I did the psoas and the lower back one as well. So it seems these two were really, how can I put it? I've been exhausted for 2 days afterwards.
Yeah.
I was really, really tired.
Yeah, so sometimes what happens is, you could go into like a little bit of a phase of healing, but
Mm,
sometimes what happens is we calm down the adrenals, we calm down the agitation in the body, and especially when the adrenals calm down, you realize like, oh, I've been running on low grade adrenaline, and there is a bit more of fatigue. Like the adrenaline was compensating for the fatigue. And
yeah.
so sometimes when the adrenals get a little bit more regulated, you're not having that overcompensation, and you do need like a little bit more rest for just a little bit. I mean, you'll acclimate no matter what, but
Mm,
it's like if you're feeling that you need a little extra rest, I just give it to the body, especially it's winter time. But in any time you're doing practices where you're kind of unwinding or unstressing, when the stress comes off, it doesn't always make you go, oh, I want to, put me in, coach. It's like, okay,
mm,
coach, put me in, but first I need a good nap. Like I'm just going to need a little nappy poo, and then I'm good to go. And in a way, even when you're sleeping, you'll start sleeping deeper. You'll start getting more restful sleep, and you'll process more while you're sleeping and dreaming. And so, I mean, good for you. I know it's a little bit of a bummer sometimes when you're like, I'm a little bit more tired, but I went through a wave of that about, I don't know, what was it, like a month ago. And I was like,
mm.
I was feeling fine. I did some unwinding, and I was like, man, I just feel like I could sleep the week away. And
Yeah.
then as a little bit of time went by, I was like, I feel better, I feel stronger. And I don't feel, I wasn't feeling the adrenaline until it was gone, because it's so low level. Like it's not like
Mm,
you're in fight flight, you're in kind of fight flight, but not really. Like, it's basically the adrenaline is how your body compensates for feeling depleted or fatigued. And so you just start producing a little bit more adrenaline, and keeps the body, animated and everything. And so, um, yeah, it might have been, I mean, both classes could have done it, but it was probably more the Uncle Bob class.
yeah.
Even the SOAS class was really about unwinding the body in a particular way that still would even contribute to that. Because so much of the psoas being wound up is tied to fight flight. And
Mm,
so calming the fight flight down also calms down the psoas. And so, like you said, you had a couple weekends in a row where that really got targeted. And yeah, I mean, in this day and age, it's practically impossible not to get overstimulated and a bit fatigued.
mm.
Like I'd say everybody has some low grade, you know, I don't even know that it's overactivation. The term that I started coining, like, I don't know, so many years ago, was the adrenals become hyperreactive. Like they kick in a little faster, they stay activated a little longer, You know, yes, they go quiet, but they snap to a little too quick. You know, they're a little too enthusiastic about being up and going. And that's usually fatigue, like fatigue or super strong overstimulation, you know. And so yeah, I mean, if you can, it's a good time. It's the holidays. Maybe just let your body rest for a little bit.
Yeah, I've actually blocked out the rest of this week, so I'm not going to do any more
Yeah,
readings. I was like, really? I just don't have the chi
yeah,
in me. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't even be bothered with that right now.
yeah.
But then, just a little funny. After the SOAS course, I went to do something with my thermostat in my hallway, and I do energy work anyway, so sometimes the chi does interesting things. But this blue light came out of my finger and fritzed the thermostat, so I
Oh
had to
wow.
get a new. I had
Wow,
to
wow,
get a new
wow.
thermostat. And then yesterday, the guy who came to fix it, I went to the door to unlock the door with the key, and the key had a blue light that came out of it into the. So I guess I've got
Wow.
stuff going on with chi right now.
Yeah.
But I just thought I'm like I'm joking. Of course, Greg, you owe me a thermostat. So,
Right, right. I know, huh? Yeah, I know.
so that was just like the weirdest thing. I'm like, really? Did that just happen? You know?
That's a crack up. I think you might be turning into a wizard.
Yeah. Well, it's my plan. Let's face
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
I'm reading the Astara book one, and it's definitely, you know, things happen every time I read a
Yeah.
chapter.
Yeah.
I'm determined to finish it and embody it correctly before I go on to the next one.
Yeah, those
So
first two degree lessons, degree 1 and 2, oh man, they're just so packed. I've read them
yeah,
so many times, and I go back and I was like, "Ugh, I don't, I'm reading the same book, but I
yeah.
don't remember even reading some of the sections. Like it's just didn't register. And so there's so many jewels in there, you know.
So true. And the poems as well are
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's my notes. So and then I guess was one other major thing was during the Uncle Bob thing. My Uncle Bob is my ex, who I'm having to deal with again because my son is moving colleges. So, you know, between
Mm.
us, we need to sort that out. And my what was it? The movement, the chaotic matter exercise, I found myself back in one of the most stressful situations with him, but he disappeared from the memory. And then it was really interesting. All this like ray came out of my heart, and it all just felt really good.
Oh,
So it was
wow.
like I
Yeah,
wiped it away somehow. So I thought that was really good progress in that department
very interesting.
because before, you know, he's been super triggering for me in so many
Yeah,
ways that I
yeah,
can't even begin to list here, which I won't. But you know, the fact that that happened is like, oh, finally, I'm getting like through the muck here somehow, and you know, past all of that. I feel in some way. So
I find, like my ex, we didn't have kids, but at first, everything was that God said was, very triggering or hurtful or whatever. And
mm,
now I'll still get an occasional like text from her or something. And, things that used to be hurtful or triggering, like now I just kind of feel bad for her that she's still in that place. But, it's
mm,
like, and I credit that, like, I didn't have that skill set. It's the practice. The practice is what brought me there, like, I don't know that I would have come to that place on my own, but by doing the
mm,
practice, I can just see, like, I just don't even if it's like really, because she sent me a brutal text here not too long
yeah,
ago. And I was like, that kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. And then I was like, she's just in a bad place. And then I was able just to like let it go. And I was like, man,
mm,
the practice is really working because 10 years ago it would have been upsetting for a while, you know.
yeah, yeah,
And I just say keep doing the things you're doing because, like,
yeah.
if you're having that experience at some point, it's just gonna be, whenever they do whatever they do,
Yeah, and it's
it's gotta
not going
be
to change. They don't change.
yeah,
So yeah,
And you guys have a child with, with each other, so it
Mm,
makes it even harder. Like I can
yeah.
only imagine, but it's got to make it a lot harder. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I won't go into it, but let's just say he's like most all the things he's done. If you want to list like the worst things you can do to somebody, he's done them all. So, the fact that I've actually got through to a point where I can feel somewhat neutral, at least about some of it, is real progress for me. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that though.
thanks. Well, I feel like it was
Yeah.
karmic, honestly. Looking back on it all, I'm like, there were things I really
Yeah.
didn't, you know, pay
Yeah.
attention to that I coulda, shoulda, woulda, but
Yeah. Yeah. It is kind of interesting because, I remember a teacher one time was saying, sometimes we have these relationships that are karmic, and he goes, yes, maybe it was supposed to be that you two were supposed to love each other, but sometimes one of the souls really is still in that place of needing or wanting to do harm, or
yeah.
blow something up in your life, or to punish you, or it doesn't necessarily mean that you guys are going to work it out the way you think you would work it out. And
Right.
I started thinking about it, and I was like, I think there was a couple relationships like that,
Mm.
where, be it karmic or not, or just a pattern. Ugh, you know. So, well, I'm glad you're in a better place, and I'm glad that you had that light come out of the heart. Like
Yeah, whatever the heck
that's
it
amazing.
was.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
I'll keep
It's
working on it.
great
I'll
that
try
you
not
can
to.
see it. Like,
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
what I
and my
mean?
computer died. Do you remember I
Yeah.
was writing to
Oh
Samantha?
yeah.
My computer fritzed, and I had to, it was
Yeah.
on the way out anyway, but it just literally just went and fell over. So I'm like, and that's never happened to me before. I've heard other
Wow.
people talk about that, but so yeah. So I'm on a new one.
There you go.
So yeah, thanks a lot.
You're so welcome.
Things are progressing, and happy holidays to
Yeah,
you
you
and
too. You
Samantha and
too.
everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. And then go ahead, Denise.
Hey, Miss Denise. How are
Hi,
you?
Sharon. I'm doing pretty well, and hello to Samantha and everyone. Greg, I really don't know still what happened this weekend. I don't really have an expectation, but for some reason, I think thought it was going to be a fun class. Okay. And there were parts that were fun, but it was far more, like I said, all I could say is it was really dynamic. So I'm still
Oh, good.
putting the pieces together. I do hope we get to practice a little tonight.
Yeah, we're going to. Yeah. Like what did you notice? Like you said, you're putting the pieces together. You feel like something got unwound, or
Um, it just well, and here's the other thing. It was very timely. All right,
yeah.
something's kind of coming down the track here, and it was really, really timely. Maybe because I've done a few more of your classes, and
Mhm.
I'm doing more of the oils. And it's taken me a long time just to kind of get on board to some degree.
Sure.
I still have more I can do that way, but the last three, for some reason, it's just like it's taking, and I'm not quite sure where that's at yet. Other than that, like the previous caller, I did have like when I was in the crown area, like kind of a white light that just really shot through. That
Beautiful.
really, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes you think I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
But I
You,
have,
you know, I would say that you know, working with the oils in the way that we do is a very accelerated practice. Like a lot of times you're using your intuition, and you're using your breath, and you're using your mind with maybe mantra or a prayer. You're directing energy, and you're still doing all of that, but with the plants, it's much more potent than just using your mind or your breath, because you're even harnessing the breath still, but the plant has an energy unto itself. And then one of the quickest ways that you can shift the nervous system and the mind is through the sense of smell. We're wired to adjust and adapt to the environment through the senses, and the sense of smell is one of the strongest ones. And then you factor in that as you're inhaling, you're getting molecules into the lungs, and so it's getting into the blood, and you know, if it, like when we're in distress, sometimes it's hard to sit and go, okay, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to do mantra, and I'm going to bring myself to a more peaceful space, because sometimes there's just a little too much agitation, and you keep getting distracted, you keep doing whatever, but man, you stick that oil in front of your face, and within a few breaths, you're like, ugh, like the tension's leaving me. And then when you start doing the practice, you can make really dynamic shifts very quickly. And there's only a few things that I would say that, have the same kind of impact. And usually they were some sort of ceremony in, like in the Buddhist tradition or something that I would do, where we have lots of tools and we're doing these things, and it would have that kind of impact, but it was one of those things that you only did from time to time. You didn't do them all the time. And then even doing meditations with just incenses and things like that, I mean, that accelerates the practice as well. Or doing healing with a lot of incense, burning incense and things. And so this idea of even if it's a little bit of consistent work with the oils and working the patterns and, working a particular topic or subject, you really can like remove those obstacles, be it that they're inner or outer, and generate some movement and the shift between intellect to intuition in that area, which means you're healing or innovating or whatever you would like to call it. And so yeah, keep up the work you're doing and just try to stay, even if it's a little tiny thing, just try to stay consistent with it, and it will make a big impact.
I will. Thank you for that encouragement. I was going to say that was because I tended to like get stuck in a repetitive pattern.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
we all do.
and,
Yeah,
and
we all do.
and I was like, how did I get back here again?
Yeah, yeah,
This-
yeah.
I thought, I thought I looked at it every other angle, like you
Right.
said, but you can't really think it out. It
Yeah,
takes a
well,
lot more like
plus the mind kind of plays tricks on you. Like the mind can go, yeah, but this is really something different, when really it's the same thing, but it's just dressed up different. Yeah, it's totally different, but it's really the same thing. And so you almost really have to be able to step away from the everyday mind, even if it's just in sleep, but to really truly like step away and then step back in. I mean, that's why meditation and energy healing and everything can be so powerful, is, it can manually kind of push you out of the intellect and have that expanded state so that you can come in and kind of regroup a little bit. And the oils do it. There's different ways of doing it, but yeah.
you've given us some wonderful techniques. I'm really excited. I just was going to ask you one last question,
Mhm.
except it sort of answered it when I was looking at the newsletter, because I have a cold sore and it's gone up into my nose. And so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's pretty painful. And I feel like it's kind of creating some, nerve stuff around my face. So, would it be Melissa that I would?
So Melissa will work, but also for that, it's not quite as potent, but it's pretty darn potent. Like I would say it's like 80 or 90% of the potency of Melissa for that, but it's significantly cheaper, and it's Eucalyptus citrodora.
Oh, I have that.
Yeah, Citrodora works really good for those cold sores as well. Traditionally, be it either herbal or with essential oils, you could put a little bit, like in a little bit of oil or something, massage oil or olive oil or something, and rub it on the site with the Melissa. And you can do the same thing with the Eucalyptus citrodora, but I find that the citrodora is a little bit gentler. And sometimes, like I've had people put them on and it's not even in a base oil. You could just kind of dab a little bit on there. And very, very helpful for that at, 20% the cost of the Melissa or even less. And so I would say if you already have Eucalyptus citrodora, I would use that. And if you don't, like maybe that would be, if you're using it for that, use that one. I mean, I
Okay.
love Melissa. I'm not trying to talk you out of Melissa, but
Sure.
Melissa is expensive. Eucalyptus citrodora is not. And so like it's significantly cheaper. And so I would use it for that,
Would I take any of it internal or just
You
external?
actually just need to put it on the spot and I'd inhale it up in that area and I'd even put a drop or two on your finger and kind of swab it up in there a little bit
Okay,
and get it that way. And
okay, very good.
call it good. Yeah, like the thing with Eucalyptus citrodora is it's great for joints. It's great for deposits in the joints. It's very antiviral, especially for cold sores and things like that. But it's super anti-inflammatory. Like it is super, super anti-inflammatory. So it's like a thing to use even for like tendonitis and things like that. And so that's a good one to have around. Like old school, we used to use Eucalyptus citrodora like 25 years ago. Like how we talk about marjoram these days is we used to use Eucalyptus citrodora for just anything muscular. And there's so many other oils out these days, and it's very interesting. But it is an old school workhorse that you can use for a lot of things. A lot of things.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
great. Thanks. I appreciate it.
I wasn't able to make class, but my plant prana peeps that did were raving about it.
Oh, thank you.
I agree. The practice definitely helps me to disengage and detach, to see things more broadly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I spend a little bit less time. I just spend a lot more time meditating. I still meditate a bit, but I spend way more time working with plants than, because the plants are a meditation unto itself. And so, I don't know. I sometimes when I do a meditation and I'm not either burning incense or inhaling an oil while I'm doing it, I feel a little gypped afterwards. Like, oh, I could have done that a little deeper had I not been inhaling, something. And so, yeah.
Does the Uncle Bob protocols work on a relationship with a person who has passed?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially the Uncle Bob component, the blend or that segment that's Uncle Bob is really more about interacting with the person. But the other segments in that day, in that class, are about unwinding, be it now, potentials for the future, or unwinding the things from the past. And so I would say do those. You might not need to focus so much on the last segment with the blend Uncle Bob, but that's the thing about Uncle Bob is they're everywhere. I mean, they're not the majority, but they're everywhere. And so I would say, even your Uncle Bob might have passed, but the archetypal version of that when you interact with it can sometimes be triggering because of the past. But that's the thing with an Uncle Bob is you could have a bright shiny past with nothing and they come along and poke you in the ribs and punch you in the shoulder and say something really derogatory and boom, you're in a weird place. It's not even always about the conditioning from the past. Sometimes they're just difficult people in our lives to deal with. When I was younger, I had a harder time with it. I mean, I could deal with it, but I had a harder time with it. When I'm older, like I don't know if it's just tired of it, fatigue, or just like I've seen it so many times, or you beat your head up against the wall so many times. but I've also been doing a bunch of work, so hopefully it's some of that's paid off. But now they can still be a little bit triggering, but you kind of catch yourself in the moment. And like, this is a funny thing to say, like sometimes I almost kind of like watch it, observe it almost like a scientist, because I kind of want to see how it's going to play out. And it's borderline comical just how bizarre some of their behavior is. And when it's not being taken personal, it changes the dynamic. And so kind of what you're doing with the Uncle Bob thing in that last segment is getting to that place where it's just not personal anymore. Like, it's not, they do it to everybody. They don't do it just to you. You're not drawing it out of them. You're just the one standing in front of them, and they're gonna receive your lashing or whatever it is. And so being able to shake that off and just not take it on and walk away, not lose yourself in the moment, that's all you're really shooting for. It would be awesome if we could just say, like, if we handle ourselves well, we'll never have to deal with difficult people. We're always going to have to deal with difficult people. It's just, I would say over the last few years, it's gotten worse. But it is what it is. Without situations like that, it would be harder for us to spiritually grow and evolve. So in a way, they're just helping us to be spiritualized and set free in a way. It's just being able to keep that perspective. Kind of hard in the moment. Like, looking back, you can reflect and go, oh yeah, that's totally what's happening. In the moment, it's not that easy.
And then go ahead, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Hey, hi.
Hey.
Talking about just a few sentences back there, you were talking about the oils as a practice and meditation and such. And last night's practice was beautiful and intense and a lot in a gorgeous way. But and on Tuesday nights, I have a regular weekly meditation on Twin Hearts. That it happens after our session here. And last night it occurred to me to ask you about that. And then I actually opted out of the session last night with the meditation, because is there any caution around doing like a really deep practice like what we did last night and following it with a meditation on Twin Hearts?
No, not at all. Like, the thing that I would say, doing Twin Hearts, on one level you can go, oh, like after a while, you kind of feel like, okay, I've been doing this so much and so long that, I got this down. It's a nice, like, kind of easy meditation. But when you start doing the oils and going into like a deeper state and shifting from intellect into intuition, and then you sit down to do Twin Hearts, it can get like a lot more potent. And so I would say there's a lot of different levels to Twin Hearts. And like, the stronger your connection, the more intense that meditation becomes. And I wouldn't say that there's a caution, but sometimes it can be so intense it almost like sneaks up on you. Like, like I would be doing higher practices and everything and thinking, let's fire off at Twin Hearts, and then I'm like, my head's all down. I can't keep my body upright, and it's being overwhelmed. And I'm like, really, with Twin Hearts? But then I start thinking about it. It's like the potency of the other things I was doing made Twin Hearts more potent. And so I would say, if anything, just keep that in mind, is that, as a person like evolves or connects stronger, I like connect stronger better than saying evolving. Like, you connect stronger. It makes those meditations where we're connecting the heart and the crown much more potent, much, much more potent.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
I know, Master was always so very cautious about making sure not to
Mhm.
overwhelm the physical body with the
yeah,
things,
oh, yeah, yeah,
right? And like, Sarah was talking about at the beginning, you were talking about her fatigue could also partly be because of much. And I just was wondering that because I've been experiencing a certain amount of unexplicable fatigue as well. And when you said that, I thought, oh, I wonder if it has something to do with that. And then maybe with the other practices that I'm doing, maybe on top of all of that, maybe I need to like
It
back a little.
could, yeah, it could be that. The other issue, like the things earlier, I think were, what we were talking about, but there is a virus kind of floating around, and even if you don't get sick, like your body fights it off. And one of the big issues is fatigue. Like
Mm.
it's very, very fatiguing.
Mm.
And so, I'd say over the last, it seems to have been active that I've been aware about, when was it, the middle of, like the end of October is when I started hearing people talk about being sick with this, whatever it is. And fatigue is one of the constants that somebody complains about with it.
Yeah. Well,
And it
what I,
doesn't mean that you got sick, but maybe there was an exposure or
Mhm.
something, your body fought it off, but ugh. So I found cinnamon and thyme to be very helpful for this version.
okay.
Yeah.
What I've been noticing a little bit as a pattern is I've been sort of analyzing the last month or so or two, which is about the right time frame with that thing. But is that especially after spending a weekend like with you, and in the
Mhm.
group doing all that, it's like Monday I have got like energy bizarre, right? I mean, I am raring to go, and I get so much done, and everything's working, and my brain is going, and everything's clicking right along. And then on Tuesday, it's like, okay, I'm good. I can still do this,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And then on Wednesday, it's like, yeah, we can still get stuff done today. But it's like,
Right.
and so that's why I'm wondering, I mean, I don't know, maybe some of it might be my thyroid, some of it might be the virus, because I did get sick back in early October.
Oh,
Anyway,
so see, so you probably had that thing that I was talking about.
that's what I was thinking
I,
when you're talking
I,
about
I would hope that the fatigue would diminish, but
by now, yeah.
yeah, but try do you have like some form of thyme or cinnamon or something?
I just ordered the cinnamon leaf actually, so it's on
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Because like Ravensara would also be good, Naoli. I mean, if you got the cinnamon leaf coming, that's perfect. Just a couple drops in water in the morning, and your energy levels will be a lot better. Yeah.
Great. What about, can I use the cinnamon leaf in coffee?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. The thing that's nice about cinnamon is it doesn't just raise your energy levels, but it jumpstarts all the body's processes. It's very similar to how people use cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper does kind of the same thing where it just jumpstarts everything. And so, it will raise energy levels, it'll make the body stronger, but it just makes all the body parts and all the processes just function better.
Yeah. Great. Can always use that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good. Okay. So let's do this.
Another question.
Sure, sure.
What's the difference between how you'd use cassia and cinnamon leaf?
Cinnamon you put it in the water with your right hand, and cassia you do left hand. No, they're almost identical. The cassia has just a slight blood thinning property to it. It's very, very slight though. So slight that I would say, I don't know that I'd even use it to treat like anything where the blood needed to be thinned. Like it's not that strong. But in a lot of circles, they're interchangeable. Like a lot of times when you're buying cinnamon, you're actually buying cassia. And so they're almost identical, slightly different plants, but not much. And so, Yeah.
And go ahead, Lucinda.
Mhm.
Hey,
Hey.
hi. My Uncle Bob, I also bought their astrological oil to work
Mhm.
with them. So I guess my question is there a better way to rotate those two protocols or combine them or is that even
So,
necessary?
so what were you going to do with the astrological sign and their sign? Like
Well,
what protocol were you going to use?
I'm not really sure yet because it just came and right before this weekend's class. But I remember when taking that class that
I would I would say though, like using their astrological sign, um, think of them,
mhm,
inhale the oil, and then do the materialization breath. Like do that over
okay.
and over again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, once you've done that for a little while, I might give you like a little tweak to that. But
Okay.
I'd say for a little while, just work that. And then if it's working, then we'll call it good. I mean, I'd have you do that no matter what. But if there needs to be a tweak, I'll give you another process to do with that. That could be very, very helpful. I mean, I'm
And
not talking like I can post it for you if you want, but I don't like I'd almost kind of like to walk you through it,
okay.
just because there's like certain areas to emphasize with it. And, you know, we've been doing versions of it the last like week or two, but, you know, it's that thing with the back heart and then down the arms and legs, and
Right.
then go up the Mingmen back heart crown, like actually do soles of
Yeah.
the feet Ming. So I can write it out for you. The emphasis is going to be on the back heart, and so there's a couple little tricks with that. Like when you're doing it, like I'm doing it like in a tempered way so the body gets used to it because it's really powerful. Like it's really, really strong. And so, you know, at first maybe just do the pattern that was from I can't remember what class I was in. I want to say it was the red and green class. Okay, even in the first part of Uncle Bob, it kind of covers like a version of it, right? But
Uh-huh.
the potent way is to sit and think of the situation like you're looking, you're observing, you're assessing, right? And then you keep observing, but then you shift to your forehead and you let the forehead observe to a higher degree. And then you let it all go and you go to the back heart. And the back heart will clean that up. Like at first, you just let it clean up, and then you keep observing the situation for as long as you can from the back heart. And you almost wait till you just can't do it anymore. And then you do the arms and the legs, and then up the Mingmen back heart crown. And it for one, it reduces the lower responses to the situation, and two, it's like it harmonizes like you and the situation, like so it's like very regulating to any agitation that can happen in the body, but it heightens your ability to adjust and adapt to that particular person or that particular situation. But I would say like acclimate to it, like do the materialization breath for a while, and then I'll walk you through it. Like we can do it on one of the study groups or something.
Okay.
I'll walk you through it, and then after you do that, you just keep looping through it, like looping through it. Like if you want to innovate and resolve something, just loop through that, and it will get you there. Like it would totally get you there.
No, that's great. That's great. Because I was trying to figure out what the difference or the advantage of one over the other,
Mhm.
like the Uncle Bob versus the using the Aries oil with
I
her.
like you using the, I mean, I would still use the Uncle Bob, but I like you working the Aries, or whatever their sign is,
It's Hershey there.
because there's like kind of a processing or an understanding of their patterns of behavior that you'll get with working the sign that you wouldn't get any other way. You know, and like you both could be looking at something that happened. You're going to see it through your eyes, through your kind of your sign, so to speak, because it's how you process things. And that other person's going to see it through their eyes and their sign. And when you start talking about it, you guys are not going to have the same perception. Like it's just not going to be very similar. And so it helps you to kind of see like, oh, this is how they see it. This is what they're doing. This is how they think. It's it helps to problem solve in that way.
No, that's helpful.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. And now I kind of I understand the differences and between the two.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Happy belated birthday,
Yeah,
by the
hey,
way.
thank you. We get to see you.
Nominated
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yes, next month. I'm excited.
Yeah, we get to see you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
And then go ahead, Leslie.
Hey, Leslie.
Hi, Greg. How are you? I had a question
Mhm.
about the zodiac sign as well. I don't want to
Yeah.
work it for a person. I kind of want to work it because I want to like connect with that sign. Would I
Uh-huh.
use the same protocol that you
Yeah.
recommended for her?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Do
Yeah,
you, if, would you, being that I'm a Cancer, right? And I
Mhm.
have an Aries rising for the Aquarius moon, which one you think I should work first, the moon or the rising?
I would probably work the moon first.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
A couple people are asking, please send us that protocol.
Yeah,
Can you repeat that?
I
I just
can
want to
write
check
it
with
up.
you real quick. Is that, it sounds like what we did yesterday in the Tuesday.
It's very similar. There's just a couple of pieces missing, but like that would be a good place to start.
Okay, I'll put the link in for that as well for you
Yeah.
guys. It's the deeper practice we did
Right.
yesterday.
Yeah, there and you have me directing it and following along, and yeah.
And I don't have it edited for just the deeper practice yet, so I'll put a link in for the Tuesday, because I did get that up on the site, on the YouTube channel for you guys. Yeah, I thought that sounded like a
Mhm.
good place.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Let me think. Make sure I didn't miss anything. I think that's good.
Okay. So let's go to the Uncle Bob section. D, heavy-hearted. We're just going to look at working. Heavy-hearted is like another way of saying, the energy is heavy in the body, the emotions are heavy, the heart's having a hard time activating because it feels like it's picking up a sack of bricks, right? And it's just another way of saying toxic stress. Not necessarily traumatic stress, but toxic stress. And toxic stress literally begins to change your physiology. Like it changes how your body processes things and functions. So this is always a good one to do. Your choices are acacia, cade, cypress, fennel, fir balsam, frankincense, ginger lily, juniper, lantana, nootka, St. John's wort, or lang lang. And then blends, glory of Lebanon, heavy hearted, and sadness and grief.
And this is from the Uncle Bob class, right?
Yeah, segment D. So we're just going to unwind this toxic stress. So whichever oil you have, begin inhaling. Your awareness is on the sex chakra. Long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on the sex chakra. Move your awareness to the low back. The backside of the navel. Then move your awareness to the front solar plexus. And then the back heart, the area between the shoulder blades. Yeah. Your awareness is on the brain. Yeah. Awareness is on the brain. Long, slow, deep breaths. Nice. And then the crown. Your awareness is on the crown. And then move your awareness to the spine. And then just be still. Just be still. One of the things I like to do, like in the moment, like practicing stillness after that, you could still inhale the oil. And if you have an area in your body that's compromised or feels heavy, is in pain, it's not so much about relieving the pain, but it's about diminishing the effects of stress that area has on the body. And sometimes that makes things feel better. So just inhale with your awareness on some area of your body that's compromised or in pain, or you got a trick knee or a weird hip or something. Just put your awareness on that spot. For me, I do it on my shoulder and I do it on my back, and sometimes the amount of tension that comes out of my body is mind blowing. Didn't feel that it was there until it was gone, and then I'm like, whoa, thought I've been carrying that around all this time. And then just pause and let it go. Just pause. Yeah, I know. Let's do that one again. Begin inhaling. Your awareness is on the sex chakra. The low back opposite the navel, known as the Ming Men. And the front solar. On the back heart. Your awareness is on the back heart. The brain. And the top of your head. And this will kind of do the thing for Cindy too. This doing the practice I'm going to do out of red and green. Awareness is on the crown. And then move your awareness to the spine. And then pause and be still. Okay, we're going to switch over to the esoteric meaning of red and green. And we're going to go to the very first segment. Under B, treatment, number 1, movement and chaotic matter. And so basil, Eucalyptus polybrox, Eucalyptus radiata, tea tree, or green healer. Sandalwood would also work, by the way. And so, Cindy, this would be the second after you do the materialization breath. This would also work for that. What I was trying to tell you, I'd write up. So begin inhaling. Your awareness is on the back heart. Long, slow, deep breaths. Awareness on the back. You're still on the back heart. You're taking some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Move your awareness to the armpits. The elbows. The wrists. Palms. Your awareness is on the palms. Your hips. The knees. Your awareness is on the knees. The ankles. The soles of your feet. The bottom of your tailbone. And the area between your eyebrows. And then just be still, be aware. How did that treat you? Why do it once when you can do it twice, right? That's what I always say. So let's do it again. Your awareness is on the back heart. Long, slow, deep breaths. Your armpits. Your elbows. Your wrists. Your palms. Your hips. Your knees. Your ankles. The soles of your feet. Bottom of your tailbone. And your ajna. And just be still. And notice how you feel. Your body, your emotions, your mind. You, mm, yeah. So you feel like you kind of like had some things released. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, tomorrow night we're doing a thing with Astara for the solstice. And so if you want to join us for that, it's 8 p.m. Central Time. So 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, 7 in the mountain area. And so, we'll be doing a solstice practice that's very similar to some of the stuff that we've done over the last couple nights. And so, but a little bit stronger, a little bit deeper, and we'll step up our game a little bit for it. Join us if you can. And we have no class this weekend, but we have our Sunday session that we're going to do probably a little bit longer version of it because it's Christmas Eve and I don't have a class to teach, so I'll try to wiggle my way into doing a long version of that some way, somehow. And then if I don't see you in those 2 times, Merry Christmas and hope to see you again next week. So love you guys. Take care.